Okay, I'm starting this video all over again because I'm not going to show you my argument that I'm having with the spirit about why are you giving me certain energies if I can't paint them when I come here. Anyway, now I release something that I was trying to hide. Anyway, hi, welcome to my multidimensional living room. I'm gonna be painting energies. If something speaks to you, helps you orient yourself and navigate your life. Understand and love yourself and those around you a little bit more, then that's great. I also intend to increase energetic literacy. So perhaps you see things better, you see things maybe a little bit more clear, or you get another perspective. Maybe you see things in a way that you didn't see them before. If I help you in that, then that's great. If not, then all of this might be for or from somebody else. Use your intuition, use your discernment. So I already started the painting because I feel like I was supposed to be here yesterday and the day before, and I'm not going to say that I was supposed to be here a few days ago because sometimes things happen that were supposed to be here rather than me. In other words, there were some higher forces at play that prevented me from being here. And in the meantime, I believed every single day that I'm going to show up here. And so I have a collection of energies that I could bring into this painting. And I tried. But I have to take it from right here, right now. Yeah. Yep. Okay. For some reason I was getting the... Oh, I don't have my water here. Usually I have an urge sometimes to put my hands in the water, and now I had a feeling that I need to put my hand in a fire. Which tells me about the sacrifice of some sort. Which leads me into an energy that is among the energies that I've collected for this painting. And that's the energy of growth that feels like betrayal. There is a saying like you would put a hand in a fire for something or somebody to prove that you're right. Yeah. So do you feel like you need to prove that you're right? That puts me in. Okay, I gotta make this work. I tried to open it. I didn't want to function earlier, but I gotta make this work. Because it kind of puts me on some sort of like a crossroad. That I want to draw, but I really want to make this work. A crossroad of like, you really need to prove yourself right, but you can also choose like which right do you want to be proven. The one that is going against you, or the one that is for the benefit of your soul. And that one for the benefit of your soul feels kind of like betrayal to you, to the version of you, or to somebody around you. I'll be patient. Now the question is, how much patience should I, like how long do I have to be patient? Okay, let's go somewhere. Okay. So okay, now I have paint, but I don't have space to paint. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like you're coming from here, you're coming here, now here you are, and you want to go here. Here you would prove your soul that she's right. But you might as well go here and then prove another point. And it's not something you would do deliberately, you would just kind of let it happen. I need to touch this paint. Okay, so speaking of growth that does feel like a betrayal, that feels very heavy, so heavy that I've been struggling entering the painting with it because it's heavy as fuck. But now as I'm touching this paint, it tells me that it doesn't need to be heavy. There's like an exit point from the heaviness, and it's in rewriting the terms and conditions of how you move through the space-time reality. That which is heavy also allows you to go deep into yourself, and on the depth, like here at the bottom, which is like the core of your being, you get to redefine terms and conditions. You get to redefine what does it mean to grow. Because at this point right now, where the growth feels like a betrayal, betrayal is part of the contract that growth equals betrayal, but it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to stay this way. You can redefine growth as inspiration, forward momentum, respect. You can create your own fill in the blank of what you want your growth to reflect back to you and impact others as. I guess that's the word to say. Yeah, it can be rewritten. It's kind of like, it gives me an analogy of creating a website. And so when you're creating a website, there is a core of the website where you can set up your font, your color scheme. What else is there? Like font, colors, your social buttons. And then as you move through the actual landscape of the website, then you can change things as you go. Some of the things are really editable immediately. Like for example, you can choose for each section the color theme of that section. But the landscape of that color theme has been determined by the core. So that tells me that you can kind of create your reality as you go. Like some things are really determined, like you can change the terms and conditions of your reality as you go by going deep into your core. But it's not like you have to, okay, this kind of feels like, why am I even saying this? I guess it's along the way of like, as you move, the things unfold right in front of you. And you can go into the core and change the terms and conditions of how your life is playing out through you. And then as you move, you might receive some sort of like a backlash. because not everything is immediately catching up to your newest update. And then that backlash, you can change immediately as you go, depending on how you changed the core. And it's easier now than it has ever been before, which tells me that if this some sort of like betrayal or growth that equals betrayal, if that is something that has been happening generationally, where like you're going through something that your parents were going through and their parents were going through and their parents were going through, and your whole civilization that came before you, they all kind of went through the same issue that you're feeling right now. The place where you are right now is way much easier for you than it has been for anybody before you. Because you have like tools and abilities and information and support from everywhere in the universe. Like if you're willing to go through this growth in a less painful way, it can be less painful simply because you have support from everywhere. The support exists and you can come in contact with it easily. And people that came before you, they had a little bit less, and therefore they kind of, like the impact that this growth had on them was a little bit more difficult to handle for them, but it doesn't need to be that difficult for you. And the measures that they had to go through, that they had to take in order to survive, in order to go through that growth, were way much more severe back then than they are now. So what worked for the generation before you doesn't need to work exactly the same way for you. Did I say that right? Did I say that right? What worked for the generation before you doesn't need to apply for you. Okay? Yeah. Like it's a little bit easier now than it has been 20, 30, 50 years ago. So if you're going through some sort of like change, in terms of like you're growing, you're removing yourself from places where you don't want to be anymore. I heard other people referring to it as vibrational deselection, or yeah, I think it was vibrational deselection. It's like you choose where you don't want to vibe anymore. And that feels heavy because it seems like you are leaving someone behind. Don't mistake people for frequencies, because people are divine. People can change. It's just a room where you meet those people that you're leaving. So it's kind of like I'm getting, like, you're in one room with one person for a very long time. It's kind of like this is your living room, this is where you hang out, and you've been always hanging out there for the last 25 years. And now you're kind of realizing like that you want to change the room, and this other person is like, no, I don't want to change the room. And you're like, oh fuck no, like what am I gonna do now? And now you're kind of like internally going through a breakup process from this person, but it's not from this person. You can never really leave the person. You can never really lose the connection with the person because you're kind of always connected, but you can lose the frequency in which you two connect. Which means that, yes, you're gonna leave the room where that person is staying, but after you leave that room, that person may also leave into another room, and then you might meet in another room again. And that's what it means to rewrite terms and conditions. It's like, you have to explain to yourself, to your nervous system, to your body, that has learned previously before, from the generation before, and from the generation before, and the generation before, that changing or growing or needing another room, needing more air, needing more something, equals abandonment or loss of connection or death or destruction or danger of some sort. It's like learning how to explain to yourself, first and foremost, the change doesn't equal all of that I just mentioned. It's just a change. And as it might bring more space and ease and peace to you, and more expansion and more truth, or whatever you're looking for while you're growing and expanding, equally so it gives space to the other person to expand with you as well. But you also you have to trust that people change. You have to trust that, even if they don't like it, even if they don't want it, even if that's not what they asked for, but it's like you're initiating that change, you have to trust that they can see that as a gift as well. Yeah, that's where that ease is here. Growing pain. Yeah. And I'm getting it's like a film, it's like a movie that is just playing in front of my eyes. It's I'm seeing a lot of ASMR clips. They're very short, like maybe a few seconds each. And so one is showing 3 different metal pipes going in one another and perfectly fitting and creating this metallic sound as they're fitting into one another. So I'm hearing this, and then there's also stones, a really big stones moving and creating this stone sound that really feels good. And then I'm seeing a bunch of wooden blocks falling and creating this comfortable wooden sound of blocks falling together. And then I'm seeing a flower in a meadow of some sort, and it's silence with birds. And then I'm seeing a flash of some sort. It can be, it's undefined what that actually is. It's just something that is rotting. It can be a pumpkin or some sort of mango or something that is rotting. And it's the same length as everything before, but it's slow motion. It feels like it takes longer than anything else. Everything else has some sound, some crispiness, some aliveness in it that is representative of life. And then rotting is also representative of life. And this is exactly where it announced itself as that's what life is. It's not that's what life is, it's more this is life. This is life. This is life. That growing pain is life. Your spirit stretching outside of what used to be comfortable and known and familiar. Not just to you, but to the whole generations that came before you. It's you're you're pushing the boundaries of what has been normal to people before you. And yeah, I'm getting this sound of like muscle stretching. So this growing pain that I'm looking at here, it's kind of raw and violent almost, not like physically violent, but it's one of those moments when I never really feel comfortable delivering messages along these lines because I'm not a parent biologically to anybody. Maybe in the future, maybe that's why I'm getting messages like this. But I'm getting that if you're a person on your own, it's like you don't have children. I don't know if that applies to people who are in marriages and relationships. Yeah, ciao. But it's like if you're on your own, you kind of get a freedom to define yourself, to decide where is your life going, who do you think you are, kind of a thing. It's just like you get a little bit more, is that a leverage is a word? You get a little bit more freedom to just live your life however you want. But it's in relationships with children and parents, regardless of whether you are a parent to a child or a child to a parent. It's in those relationships, but I assume like also in like very close romantic relationships, that you really get to experience this raw quality of life, where this idea of who do you think you are, who do you make yourself to be, is being like really put to test. And I'm getting like a lot of, I have to paint that, like a lot of, just fragments. Looks like my hands are bloody. Just fragments of life in which you get to experience this life's violence, like how violent life is, but not like a physical violence. It's just in a way that like it can destroy your soul temporarily. Like I'm getting an example of like you might be like, I don't know, letting internet raise you into a person that you want to be. So you learn the mindset work, you do the mindset work, like you connect with like-minded individuals, you learn how to honor yourself, how to have respect, how to care about yourself, you learn the skincare, you learn the fitness and everything, you know, like you really raise yourself to be an admirable person of some sort, and then you create a child, and then that child tells you, mom, dad, whatever, you're ugly. You're like, what? And then the child is like, yeah, that's true, you're ugly. Like those kind of moments I'm picking up on, of like when life is like, what the fuck? And I'm laughing, but there's like a little bit of heaviness in it, but it's like, I don't know. Those raw moments of life. Like I'm having a neighbor He's less than 1 year old, and he cries every 3 hours ever since he came to being. And his mother says that it's because his teeth are growing. And then she asked me, does it bother you? And I'm like, it bothers me, like it wakes me up at night. But I know it bothers them too. And I also know that I'm also going through my own growing pains all the time. Doesn't matter how many years old I already am, way much more than just under 1. And when I'm feeling growing pains, I'm also screaming and crying. And I know they hear me. So when they ask me, like, does it bother you? I feel like I can't really say that it does, because that's human nature. It hurts. It hurts to exist. It hurts to grow through time. It hurts to go through time and space. It hurts to see us changing and see people that are related to us changing outside of our comfort zone, outside of what we think is normal, outside what we want, outside what we think is the best, or outside what we're used to. But everything that is outside of that is still on the planet Earth. Yeah, everything that is outside of our comfort zone is still on the planet Earth. Except extraterrestrials, but they're here too anyway. And the universe at large. But we are in the universe, and the universe is here. I remember, it's coming to me now. Yeah, the film Call Me By Your Name. So there's a moment when the father talks to his son, telling him how he envies him because his son had this connection with this other character. And it was the type of a connection that the father never experienced, so he was envious of him. And he told him, because the son was basically like collapsing within himself, he was falling apart, he was so emotionally vulnerable and very, very raw. Like one of those moments that I'm painting here is like very raw moment, very tender moment of life when you're experiencing love and loss and betrayal. And growth as betrayal. Yeah. He said something along the lines like, honor it, cherish it, feel it. Because he never felt it. Maybe they came close to it, but they never really experienced it. And there are also so many other times of life when you wake up in the morning and you take your newspapers and a cup of coffee and you go about your day, you do the business as usual. And those are the days when you don't feel raw and tender and vulnerable as you get to feel through these moments of growth that feels in a particular way. So when you do feel it, then feel it. Don't try to numb it. Don't try to escape it, don't try to fix it, just feel it. Because it's a temporary experience, it's not going to be there forever. It's not going to feel like this, it's not going to be so raw forever. Because someday you'll heal and you'll grow up and you'll become eventually, I don't know, desensitized to it in one way or another. And you will lose connection to feeling how you feel when you're internally breaking apart of what you used to be up until a moment ago, with yourself or in relation to another. And there's an energy that I almost... I have to stand for a second. There's an energy that I almost neglected or almost not seen. And it's the willingness and capacity to be fully open for feelings like this, for moments like this, without needing to distract or numb or in any way, shape or form turn the volume down on the intensity of feelings like this. If you find yourself in this energy that I'm bringing in here, you are in such a golden spot. If you're not there yet, I recommend you. It's being willing to have capacity. I think it starts with willingness. It starts with willingness to feel. And then eventually you have to, like, if you're not originally by default in that state of having capacity to feel, then you kind of practice yourself over time. Before practicing yourself over time, you're distracting yourself or numbing yourself with substances of all kinds and entertainments of all kinds and noise of all kind. But this is more like, it's like a very clear capacity to feel whatever it is, to the point of like having almost like a direct approach of, yeah, let me deal with it. Kind of like you speak to the pain, just you and me, nobody else, nothing else, just you and me. And then you let it work through you. You eventually learn to fall in love with it, and kind of in that way that the father of, what's his name, 𝐬𝐤𝐬𝐬? Yeah, 𝐬𝐤𝐬𝐬. Introduced to 𝐬𝐤𝐬𝐬 in the film, of just feel it, because you're not gonna feel like this always. So when you have a chance to feel how it is to feel heartbroken and betrayed and left behind or whatever, feel it, because it's not going to last forever. And then there's also, through feeling this, there's also the other side of going through this pain and then seeing everything what that pain kind of teaches you and shows you and where it points your awareness in which direction. And then there comes almost this like ecstasy-like feeling afterwards from going through this pain without cheating, without any helping wheels. It kind of comes in as a reward. On the physical level, it's kind of like going through physical pain without painkillers, and then you're just going through it, and you're kicking and screaming and crying and complaining, and eventually you learn how to be with that pain, and then you feel it for long enough, and eventually it just stops being there for whatever reason, depending on the pain. But then you go through it, and it exhausts you physically, but it gives you almost this I have a word, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube. A relief. It gives you a relief going through this pain that is very sweet. Ecstasy-like. Yeah. Yeah. I'm also having a vision of going somewhere, and then on the way to somewhere your back are being turned towards the destination. It's kind of like being in a bus that goes forward, but inside of the bus you're sitting with your back turned towards forward and you're facing backwards. And if somebody would come and ask you, why are you not facing forward? Your answer would not be, because I'm afraid of facing forward. Your answer would be, because I like seeing this and I like that and I like doing this and I also have this person here. So you have like a lot of positive connections they're taking place in the foundation of one negative connection. I don't even know if I could use the word connection in this. You have a plus, 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 plus for a minus. But ultimately you're going towards the plus. It's kind of like all paths are leading to Rome kind of a thing. It's like if something is really meant for you, you're not going to miss it. It's like it's going to happen for you whether you like it or not. But on the way there, you're kind of like, no, I don't want to see it. And then there is like this kind of a feeling that something or somebody comes in quite abruptly. I need a black. Is this still full? Yeah. Something comes quite abruptly out of nowhere kind of a thing. Like you don't see it coming, nobody sees it coming, but it might even come through you. It might come from somebody else. But it carries this energy of grow the fuck up. It's like somebody comes and violently just like turns your shoulders in another direction and makes you face towards where you're supposed to be facing. My ear is ringing there. And I'm also getting the vision of holding on a piece of cloth or like clothes of some sort and thinking that that's the only thing you have. And then something comes and just like violently strips that away from you and leaves you naked. And it's very uncomfortable at first. It brings up all your shyness, shame and discomfort. What if other people see you or whatever, like everything that you could possibly imagine, like all your worst demons come to life all of a sudden. But then you kind of remember that being naked is your natural state. That's how you came onto the planet. In other words, you kind of recognize that facing forward is where you actually belong. Wow. I want to make another move, but I'm seeing a person that is clearly standing on something. There's a stone that you're standing on. It's like you have a foot under your ground. You have something that previously created like restriction of some sort, pain of some sort, limitation of some sort, that is now behind you as your greatest asset. It's like once when you go through this, it's like this works for you rather than against you. And then there is a heart that is above your head. I can't help but to hear feudal devices playing in my head now. that's the film that resonates with this energy for sure. Call me by your name. I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm not gonna make another move. When you come to the point of realizing that whatever it is that is hurting you right now, or that has been hurting you in the past, and you realize that that's actually to some future you, to another aspect of you, is an asset, then you're not afraid anymore to touch the devil energy and make it work for you rather than against you. It's a really good place to be. I didn't really get the presence of a devil energy in this painting, but at some point it's like on the path from here, in between here and here, it is like a ground. It's kind of like a hook echo in tornado. It's like there's a cloud that has a little bit of space here, and this is where tornadoes are being created, and that's like a breeding ground for the devil energy. It can appear, and at some point that which you are grieving, if you don't grieve it properly, it can turn into a devil energy and hold you back. But as I said, it's not immediately a devil energy. It's just something that was a part of you. It brought you into where you are now. So you can thank it. Say thank you for showing me. And then move into the future. Okay, I'm gonna leave that painting here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, and supporting the channel in whatever way, shape, or form it suits you the best. If you want your own personal painting, the link is down below. Soon, I hope the next time I come here, I'm gonna have the new linking method ready. But until then, it is what it is. So, yeah, thank you for being here. Ciao.